Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
I am. And that must mean it's January 4th already? Wow. Where'd the time go? Isn't that amazing? Welcome to 2021, where everything's going to be fine now, because 2020 is over. So it's amazing, the thought process of some. Fortunately, we got 2020 out of the way. Now it's smooth sailing.
It's fixed.
Really? Oh, all right. Well, good. Also back, Keith Melinak.
Most of me.
Fresh back from COVID.
My voice decided to not make the trip, however.
But the wonderful vid took you down hard, didn't it?
Oh, without question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So has that changed your attitude on COVID?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Not in the least.
I knew that you knew that I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, no vaccine.
And I knew that you were going to say, not in the least.
No vaccine, no masks, no change. That would be hypocritical of me.
Good. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. But, man, it knocked you on your ass, didn't it?
Oh, I didn't leave the bed for 2 weeks. I lived like an animal, Pat.
Really?
Like, my big accomplishment for the day was going from the bed to the shower. And then back to the bed. Good night. Oh, I slept. Oh.
Was it just fatigue, or were you
it was so weird because
pain?
That's how it started. It started as just fatigue.
Yeah.
And then that was the flu.
Uh-huh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then that was like a week. And then I remember feeling well enough I was texting with Jeffy in the hospital. And I think it was like a Tuesday night. And I was thinking, okay, I'm getting some strength back here. You know, this is good. You know, I'm up for more than 5 minutes at a time here. Yay. And then I started coughing, the vomit, and it was.
Oh, you threw up?
Oh, constantly, man. I got ab workouts.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah, it was good. So that's when I went in and got the COVID test. That was positive. And then I was completely out after that. So. In the voice, like I said, I feel fine.
Yeah.
And I know the important thing for you that you want to know is I have tested negative since I've tested positive.
Okay. That is an important thing for me, actually. Yeah. Because I don't, I really don't want it. I really don't.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't.
Oh, but it's a blast. But seriously,
it seemed like it was for you.
Everyone so differently.
Only person I know who got it, and it, like, really put you out.
Yeah.
Because Stu didn't. Glenn never got it. Tanya, his wife, had it, but she wasn't that sick. And then some people at church that I know that got it and were just kind of, eh.
Carrie lost her taste and her smell, right?
Did you do that?
Yeah.
Did that happen to you?
Just a little bit here and there, but nothing major. I think the most intense was when I looked at my hands one night and they were like a little bit blue. I thought I was just seeing things, right? And then I just thought, okay, that's kind of weird, and didn't think anything of it. And then I read a story about a kid in Britain a few days later who that's a sign that you have no oxygen going on. I had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh, that happened to me one night.
Interesting.
And he died. You know,
geez.
Yeah, 13-year-old kid, the UK variant, which someone appropriately pointed out on Twitter.
Wow.
It's not racist to call it the UK variant, but you can't call it the China flu.
Right.
Anyhow, but yeah, it was absolutely. My 99-year-old, great aunt got it and had nothing but a fever. It affects everybody differently. It's unreal.
That's the thing. You just never know.
But it absolutely kicked my ass.
Yeah. That's too bad. I'm glad you are better. That's great.
I feel like a superhero now.
So, did you have the fever?
I had some fever and chills for just a couple of days, but it was nothing. It was not long lasting, and it wasn't astronomical.
Yeah.
Number wise.
Okay.
It was fun, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
I would like to have my voice back. I mean, I understand it.
I bet eventually.
Many don't want that back, but
year and a half.
That's good.
Probably have that right back for you.
Can't wait. Yeah.
I
yell at my kids. It's been a while.
Right. It must be tough to yell when your
It sucks because
voice is gone like
the
that.
kids' rooms are upstairs. I want to go up there and tell them stuff or yell at them or whatever I do. But I can't.
But you can't.
And then I was too tired to go up there.
I bet they're real sad about that.
And I was just like, and then they would come out of their rooms. It's been pathetic, man.
Sad. But again, it's good that you're back because you You were only back for 1 day after, was it 3 weeks that you were gone or a month? Weren't you gone for like a month?
I don't know, man. November 18th is when Carrie got it. So, and then I
So
came
November
back December.
18th.
What day did I come back? December 8th,
before
9th,
vacation.
Whatever that Thursday. I came back the 10th. I came back the 10th.
The 10th, and then you were gone the next day.
Yeah. And then I was.
And then you were out the next week before vacation.
And hip surgery.
That's amazing.
Obviously
did not happen,
delayed.
obviously. Yeah.
And that'll happen in February now.
They're not going to mess with you when you have COVID.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's already been rescheduled, so we're cool.
And I had, of course, the surgery on
Yes,
my
how are
head
you
and
doing?
nose. Doing a lot better. I mean, it's healed up pretty well, I think.
It looks great. They got it all. Like,
Yeah.
do you have to go in for another biopsy at some point, or?
They didn't say so. So they got it all. I guess if something starts growing again, then I'll go in and see. But they said they got it all.
But what tipped you off this time? Because I don't remember anything showing up. Was it a splotch or something?
Yeah, it did. It did. Like my nose especially had some kind of weird.
I mean, granted, I'm not staring
there.
at you on a regular basis. At least not when
I'm glad to hear that. Thank
not
you.
when you're looking.
I'm glad to hear
Try
that.
to do it on the slide. But that's good, man. I'm glad.
Yeah. So I had, as of a week ago, 10 stitches here and 6 stitches here. So it's healed up really well since then. Really well.
Seriously.
I do have a little makeup on it, but it has healed up really well. So
Good.
Yeah, for anybody who didn't know, I had some cancer areas, skin cancer, not melanoma, fortunately. So they just operated on it, took it out, stitched me up, and we move on. So
Cool.
that's where we stand health-wise. Jeffy, by the way, out of the hospital. Of course, you knew that because he came back, I think, the last day before vacation. I think on the Friday before vacation he
That's
was
right.
here.
Yeah, he was out and then he came
Yeah,
back.
because he was out, he had yet another. This is what, the third in 3 years,
Obviously
I
a
think.
stronger man than me.
Yeah, he had the first time it was the heart attack, right? The heart event, as he likes to call it. The second time it was, what was it the second time?
It was something with his heart
Yeah, something wrong.
because he thought this was going to be trip number 3 for them.
Yeah, and then number 3, this turned out to be, I'm not even sure what it was. It was because he first thought it was water around his heart. It turned
Right.
out not to be that. Oh, it was a lung infection. It's a lung infection. So he's doing better too. So,
And for the record, he and I haven't crossed paths since early November. So
jeez, that's
it
amazing.
wasn't me. Okay? Wasn't me.
All right.
But I'm glad he'll be back Wednesday.
Yes.
Yep.
We're chewing the fat on Wednesday with Jeffy. Meantime, Rudy Giuliani and his big announcement that this is really going to blow up. This whole election fraud evidence is really going to blow up right after Christmas. You just wait, because it's going to blow the lid off of this thing. Well, what's going to happen? What are you going to do? What's your next move? I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that, but just know that the lid is coming off this thing right after Christmas. So, did he mean this coming Christmas? Is that what he's talking about? Is he talking about Christmas 2021? Because
Maybe this is the president. This is the president that's under the tree, still in the back, and you didn't see it, and you're like, "Oh, look, there's another one!
There it
Yes!"
is. There's the evidence. Darn, I wish we would have had that 9 months, 10, 15 months ago. That
Now,
would have been great.
wait. Now the evidence is there. It's the fact that nobody cares. That would be the present.
He was supposed to do some kind of...
Some more.
Yeah, there was supposed to be some huge revelation
I
right
see.
after Christmas.
I see.
And they were going to show everything they had, and they had all this new stuff to present to the American people, and it was going to be compelling. And then nothing. And I don't understand that. How do they keep doing this to us? I'm a little pissed off, frankly, at Rudy Giuliani and the lawyer Attorney Powell. How do you keep saying these things and then not producing anything? A little tired of it. Tired of it. So here we are this week. They're going to certify the election. Congress will certify the election. What, Wednesday? Is it?
Yeah, January 6th. Yep.
Yeah. So
I mean, there was the hearing in Georgia where they talked about Dominion and votes and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to get to that at some point.
I do.
But, I mean, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, is that the one where they lost because they didn't have any standing?
No, that's the one that. No, I mean, throw a dart at a wall. That's every case.
Yeah, no standing. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
The American people have no standing anywhere in any court of law. Apparently, in this country.
That's seriously.
It's crazy.
The lesson we have learned.
Stinking crazy.
If I don't like you, you have no standing.
Yeah. If I don't want to hear your evidence, if I don't want to even entertain it and rule on the substance of what you're saying, I just say, you don't have any standing. That makes it pretty easy.
Boy, that
pretty easy.
So many phrases from 2020.
Yeah,
that we never used before.
No standing though is one of the worst because how is that possible for the lawyers of the President of the United States not to have any standing in an election where he was running for re-election? How do you not have standing there?
Or Louis Gohmert, a congressman.
Yeah.
But what I was referring to in Georgia was they had a witness up there testifying, and he actually made a revelation about Dominion machines in real time. That was interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay, so
at this very moment at a polling location in the county, not only do we now have access through the devices to the poll pad, the system, but we are in.
You're in.
And it's not supposed to have Wi-Fi, and that's not supposed to be able to happen. So we've documented now. It's communicating two ways in real time. It's receiving data and sending data. Should never happen. Shouldn't be Wi-Fi. We've now documented it in real time so we can suck down the data. But that's going on right there where everybody's voting. And I just wanted to get it into the record.
That's interesting.
Mr. Jones?
One of those, is it a mobile precinct or is it a...
No, it's a standing building.
Okay.
That this should not happen. And be.
So they essentially hacked in.
But this is another one in real time. Won't disclose the location because every location is being checked. But we've now confirmed it 100%.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Senator Beach, did you? And now come to Still Beach and the Tillery. Did you have a question? Okay, well, Senator Tillery.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We've heard that there's 3 different types of machines: a scanner, a ballot marking device, and a polling pad.
Right.
Do you know which one it is communicating, or can you tell that? Or
right now, what you heard in the past was coming through the thermostat and stuff. This is now a more direct access way, and so this is coming through the polling pad device where they're checking everything. But now, it only takes one
Pause
device
it for a
where you daisy chain.
Is he talking about a Nest?
Something like that.
It was coming through the Nest?
I didn't see this whole thing.
It was coming through
We've talked about these before.
Yes, we have talked about the Nest system from Google, by the way. Another innovation that's owned by Google. That's interesting. So they had accessed it through a Nest system before, and now they've directly accessed it.
Well,
is what it sounded like.
So they have at least they've documented 36 cases of voting machines around the country that have been connected to the internet that were not supposed to be.
Jeez, is there more to what he had to say? Or was that about the gist of it?
That's good. Yeah.
That's crazy. But nobody cares.
No, that's the
nobody
problem.
cares. CNN didn't. You going to see that on CNN? Absolutely not.
Nobody that can.
I didn't even
something.
see it on Fox, frankly.
Nobody that can do anything about it cares. Exactly.
If you can't get people to care about a U.S. presidential election, what can you get them to care about? It's really strange.
Hallmarks of a banana republic.
Wow, yeah. And if we don't win one of these two, at least one of the two senatorial seats in Georgia tomorrow, we're in real trouble. I mean, we're in trouble anyway, but this would be catastrophic because you've got no means by which you can stop anything, any of the extremist agenda that they're going to try to push forward in the Senate and the House with all 3 branches. Whew.
But yeah, and you talked
Not
about
good.
The evidence, Another thing that came out over the week, I don't know if you want to play this video of the lady in Georgia of counting votes or running votes through a machine.
Yeah.
Go ahead and play that, guys, if you can. This is sped up. But this lady in the back corner, okay, look, so she puts this stack of ballots in to the machine.
Yeah. She did it really fast.
No, this is 1924 footage. And then Charlie Chaplin, he came in there and he started,
And then she does it again?
She puts them all back in the machine while she looks around and checks around. Was anybody looking? Puts them right back in. She does this 5 times. We don't have to play all 5 of them.
Oh, you got to be kidding.
But she's looking around and stuff.
She does it 5 times?
And it appears it's the same freaking ballots over and over again.
Does appear that way, doesn't it?
I think they're all Trump votes, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
especially.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Fulton County.
It's always the Republicans that are trying to pull a fast one here. Okay, so great. And nobody cares about that.
Nope.
That's just perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Move along, please. Yeah, move along. Okay, we will. And the fact is, we will. We will move along to the inauguration of Joe Biden. I mean, here it is, January 4th, and they've still, nothing has happened with this. And, again, they got our hopes all up, right? They kept feeding that machine and stoking those fires that, hey, we've got enough here to prove, and we're going to prove, and he will have a second term, and all of the promises and all of the claims that they had, all of this mountain of evidence that they were going to show us, and nothing ever came of it. Now, they tried to present some of this stuff in court and were thrown out because of standing.
And
so that's frustrating.
Not on them.
That's not on them. But what is on them are things like Rudy Giuliani saying that this is all going to break wide open after Christmas, and then nothing. Unless you're still waiting. It is after Christmas, so it could happen. But we are 16 days away from inauguration, and nothing from Rudy Giuliani that we've seen so far. So, I don't know what you're waiting for at this point, but it would be nice to show us really, really soon. Let me tell you about Omega XL. If you're suffering with pain in your joints, stiffness, and it's brought on by inflammation, like was the case with me and my elbow, and then I started taking Omega XL, they said give it about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and you'll start to feel real relief. After about 1 week, I started to feel real relief. After 2 weeks, the pain was just gone. So, really fantastic. Omega XL. I can now lift things with my left arm again. This is backed by 35 years of clinical research. It attacks the inflammation and shuts it off. It's essentially an off switch for inflammation. Pain relievers, topical rubs, you can try all of that, and you probably have. And a lot of it, at least for me, doesn't work. Omega XL, though, neutralizes the inflammation, and thus the pain goes away. So if you'd like to take a shot at relieving yourself of the pain, let's get you started right now. When you order 1 bottle of Omega XL, you get a second bottle for free. Order 1, get 1 free. OmegaXL.com/Pat. That's OmegaXL.com/Pat, or call 800-844-4888.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Then you come to some of these surveys. This is a Gallup poll that they did over the holiday season. Who is America's most admired man? Now for
Jeffy.
No. Surprisingly, no.
What?
No.
Second place.
No. Amazingly not. And that's inconceivable, I know. Former President Barack Obama had ruled this poll for 12 years. 12 years in a row. He was stupid. America's most admired man. You know who won it this time? Donald Trump. 18% for Donald Trump. Most admired man.
Man. So this is a sexist poll.
Yes.
Okay.
They'll do a separate one, I'm sure, for women. But for the men, it is the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Okay.
15% voted for Barack Obama. A whopping 6%, you'll notice that's 12 percentage points behind Donald Trump, said that President-elect Joe Biden is America's most admired man. How does he win the presidency of the United States when he's 12 points behind in admiration of Donald Trump?
Okay.
I don't understand it. 18, 15, 6 for Joe Biden. Let's see. Number 4 on the list was Dr. Anthony Fauci at 3%. 2%, so he outpolled. He's more admired than the Pope, which maybe for this Pope, maybe that makes sense. He only had 2%. 1% each for Tesla chief Elon Musk. 1% for Bernie Sanders. Good gosh, you got to be kidding me. 1% for Bill Gates, LeBron James, and the Dalai Lama.
By the way, Rob down the hall tells me Michelle Obama.
Yes,
okay.
They did do a poll for the women, too, and it was Michelle Obama, 10%. 6% for Kamala Harris. So she polled the exact same as Joe Biden did, 6%. 4% for Melania Trump. What did people have against Melania Trump? So her husband gets 18%, she gets 4%. I don't know why people don't like her so much. It's really strange to me.
Because she's married to Donald Trump.
I guess so. 3% for Oprah Winfrey. 2% each for German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Hillary Clinton, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What's the matter with people? And Queen Elizabeth. 1% for Amy Coney Barrett and climate change activist Greta Thunberg. It's great. What a nightmare. So if that means anything, and apparently it doesn't, because at 18% most admired, he didn't outpoll apparently Joe Biden, at least
Yeah.
if you're to believe the election
sure.
results.
Totally sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump, dude goes from 62.9 million votes to 74.2 million.
And loses.
Okay.
And loses. And that's a first, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I think it's the first time ever that a sitting president has increased his vote total from the first election and lost.
How does that happen?
Don't know.
You
I don't think
know?
it does.
I think
It does
involves-
through cheating.
it involves suitcases under the table.
Yeah.
It involves running ballots through machines multiple times.
You're right.
It involves dead people voting.
Yeah.
It involves people voting in multiple locations.
Changing
It involves-
votes in electronic machines.
Sure. It involves fake pipe bursts and clearing out poll watchers from the other side. Mm-hmm. That's how it happens. YouTube, have
It's
fun.
just that easy.
Yeah, have fun with this one, YouTube.
Crazy.
This is all, by the way, in theory, I mean.
Right, sure, right. In theory, that's how it happens.
This is alleged.
Right.
I want to be clear.
Right.
Sniff, sniff.
We'll still get tagged.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Couldn't stop.
A federal judge on Friday dismissed a GOP-led lawsuit aimed at empowering Vice President Mike Pence to unilaterally overturn President-elect Joe Biden's victory, contending that the plaintiffs, Louis Gohmert and 11 Arizona Republicans who would have been electors for Donald Trump, lacked standing to sue. U.S. District Court Judge Jeremy Kernodle, Trump appointee based in Tyler, Texas, said the suit, which was filed against Pence, couldn't be brought by an individual member of Congress since it alleged an injury that would apply to the entire House and Senate.
I don't know.
Come on. He's a member of the House. How does he not have standing? Yeah. Gohmert had asked the court to declare that Pence, who's constitutionally required to preside over the January 6th session of Congress to certify the results, had the sole authority to decide whether some of Biden's electoral votes should be rejected and whether alternative slates of Trump votes could be introduced instead. Wow, that's a nice last-ditch effort. But Kernodle said Gohmert's argument relied on an entirely speculative circumstance. Congressman Gohmert's alleged injury requires a series of hypothetical but by no means certain events, the judge wrote. And this is, by the way, this is a Trump appointee. Plaintiffs presuppose What the vice president will do January 6th, which electoral votes the vice president will count or reject from contested states, whether a representative and a senator will object under Section 15 of the Electoral Count Act, how each member of the House and Senate will vote on any such objections, and how each state delegation in the House would potentially vote under the 12th Amendment absent a majority electoral vote. All that makes Congressman Gohmert's alleged injury too far uncertain to support standing under the Constitution. And thus, it's another failed attempt. Just tossed out. Bye-bye. Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. And really disappointing. And soul-crushing. As a matter of fact, it's actually soul-crushing. 888-900-3393. So it looks like after all the failed attempts, it's going to be President Joe Biden, who has promised now to asylum seekers, starting on day one, he's going to roll back Donald Trump's restrictions. Check out what he had to say about day one on immigration.
Finally, we spoke about the day one challenge that we need to address immediately, drawing on the skill set of the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We were briefed on the steps needed to clean up the humanitarian disaster that the Trump administration has systematically created on our southern border. We will institute humane and orderly responses.
Humane?
That means rebuilding the capacity we need to safely and quickly process asylum seekers without creating near-term crisis in the midst of this deadly pandemic. These are hard issues, and the current administration has made them much harder by working to erode our capacity. It's going to take time to rebuild that capacity. We're going to work purposely, diligently, and responsibly to roll back Trump's restrictions, starting on day one.
Starting on day one.
But it is not as simple as throwing a switch to turn everything back on, especially amid a pandemic. We'll have to have a process to ensure everyone's health and safety, including the safety of asylum seekers, hoping for a new start in the United States, free of violence and persecution.
Yeah, right in the middle of a pandemic, as he mentioned. So let's just roll back all the restrictions that President Trump put in place so that people can just pour into this country again amid a pandemic that he mentioned. How many? 3 times there? Yeah, stupid. So what are you doing? Why would you roll back the restrictions? Why would you do it? And he talks about the crisis that Donald Trump created. Really? It was Donald Trump that created the caging of the children at the border? Because the photos that were used on Twitter multiple times were actually photos during the Obama-Biden administration back in 2014. Strange.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. It really doesn't. For the media, it doesn't for him, even though he was there overseeing the policy where they put kids in cages.
And did you notice how he said you can't just flip a switch?
Yeah.
Well, you could if you were a judge, because that's all Trump dealt with for 4 years. Everything he tried to do to protect the country was overturned by the flip of a switch.
Yep. So here we are in the middle, as he mentioned 3 times, of a pandemic, and he's going to relax restrictions at the border. And if you don't think that sings to the people in Central and South America who are planning to come here anyway, and they just are waiting for Trump, the Trump administration to end, knowing that Biden is going to open up the floodgates again, and they're just going to all pour in. And we don't have any idea whether these people pouring in across our border are sick or not. Where they're going, where they're going to end up, whatever. Don't worry about it. We're just going to roll back those restrictions. 888-900-3393. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up. So 4.2 million have been vaccinated in the United States so far. They said 20 million would be by now. So 4.2 million. See, less people want it since the vaccines actually came out, than thought that they would want it like 6 or 8 months ago. And so a lot of people are reluctant to do this. They don't trust the system.
Why not?
They don't trust anything.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, could it be the fact that we've been stabbed in the back and slapped in the face at every possible turn by the government? Maybe.
Could also be some of the reactions.
Yeah, we don't. First of all, we don't trust anybody anymore. Because we can't believe our eyes anymore. We don't trust the media, and we don't trust our health professionals, and we don't trust the scientists, and we don't trust the government. So that's a bad combination when it comes to the government working with private industry to make this happen. I think it's pretty miraculous, but we don't trust it, and so people have also heard the reports of some people having some problems here, like really bad allergic reactions, which they said were going to happen if you have severe allergies anyway, right? I guess some doctor, was it a doctor who had an allergy to shellfish?
Yeah, we've got
had a severe reaction
list of them there of medical professionals who have received the vaccine
and not reacted well.
No, and I saw this one story while we were away that was talking about how we've got to market. This was somebody pushing the vaccines. We got to market this in a positive way. We can't say that it's an allergic reaction or a negative reaction. You got to call it your body's response to it.
So it's your fault. It's not the vaccine's fault. Right. Yeah, that's great. That's a nice spin. That's a nice spin on it. Yeah, it's your fault. It's your stupid body. It's rejecting this thing that we're trying to give it that will help it. Your dumb body did this.
Yeah, your body's dumb.
This guy who had a shellfish reaction or who has shellfish allergies.
Yeah, that's correct. A doctor.
Do they put, like maybe they have lobster? I think they do. I think they use lobster in the vaccine.
Lobster in the vaccine?
Yeah, lobster's in the vaccine.
Why do they put lobster in the vaccine?
Because it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious.
Did you just throw it in there?
Yeah. I think they whip it up a little bit. You know, they put some lobster meat in a blender and then add it to the vaccine.
That doesn't seem safe at all.
I guess not if you have a shellfish
but it's yummy.
allergy. But it's yummy. Yeah, and that's what they're looking. They're trying to hook people on it, and
wow,
haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, big pharma.
Yeah. We'll get into that a little bit more coming up here in a minute. First, let me tell you about these. We got some tweets here from Panther Blue. Tweets, I think judges are thinking, we don't have the balls to hear your case, so you have no standing.
There you go.
It about sums it up.
That's what we've been saying. 2 months ago, we said this. None of this means anything if judges won't
hear the case.
Well, at the time, I think we said would have the balls to rule in these ways.
Yep. Rants out loud. The biggest loser of the presidential election wasn't Trump. It was legal standing. From Dennis Rogers, I believe all these judges are basically washing their hands of these election cases because they don't want their houses to be vandalized like Pelosi's and McConnell's. Mm-hmm. Yep. Which I think that's Nancy's garage right there.
Yep.
The $2,000 cancel rent.
And there's a pig's head there.
We want everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's McConnell's door. Jeez. Where's my money? Where's the H in where's? I think is really what you're looking for.
Where's my money?
Where's my money?
Shows you how.
That's who we're dealing with.
Yeah. Then they wonder why they don't have any money. You can't even spell where. Unbelievable. Let's go to Sam in Oregon. Hey, Sam, you're on the Blaze.
Thanks, Pat. And glad that Keith got over the China flu.
Us too.
Anyway, I wanted to say that the Democrats are obviously the spawn of Satan, and the Republicans on their best day are useless.
Yes.
I have no respect for any legislative body in this country as currently configured anywhere. And unless everyone in the House and Senate that claims to be a Republican votes against the Electoral College result, I'll never vote for Republican again. This was a coup. And our country has been overthrown, and all these guys are standing around flat-footed doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
America needs to wake up, and if they put the junta in on January 20th, no civil authority means anything to me ever again. These people are all complicit in an occupying force in our country, and we need to run them all off.
Appreciate the call, Sam. Thanks a lot. Sadly, that's the way many of the 75 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump feel right now. They feel like it was an actual coup. I mean, that's why you should have at least addressed it. You could have at least entertained it. Somebody could have ruled on it. Somebody could have welcomed the evidence and said, yeah, let's have a hearing on this. How about the U.S. Supreme Court, maybe? Yep, bring it to us. Let's look at it. Let's see if there's anything to this. Would that have really been so bad for the U.S. Supreme Court to have accepted the case and to have said, yeah, bring us the evidence. Let's see what we have here. Let's take a look at it and let's rule on it. Do you have anything? Rather than just say, no, you don't have standing, so we're not going to hear it.
Oh, wait, there was a judge that made a ruling, actually. And it was Stacey Abrams' sister.
And what did she rule, I wonder?
She ruled that we're not going to get rid of the people that are registered in 2 different locations to vote.
Oh, okay, good.
So, I mean,
good.
You could just paint this broad stroke brush, Pat. No judges are ruling. Well, Stacey Abrams' sister didn't recuse herself. She ruled.
That's amazing. Stacey Abrams' sister.
We are a banana republic.
Oh, man. It's just, in really, how many people are going to have this this attitude now, this opinion that the election was completely stolen because it was never aired out. We didn't have an actual hearing of the evidence. And so most of the 75 million people who voted for Donald Trump are going to feel that way. I don't know if they'll go as far as to say it was a coup, but they will believe it was stolen.
Somebody will withhold filing their taxes
on
this basis. I'm not giving my money to an illegitimate government, and we're going to have another Waco.
Well, I hope not.
That's what I feel.
But
I don't want that.
Certainly could result in that. Right. Nobody wants that.
It's going to take somebody with that mindset that's heavily armed and willing to fight back.
Well, yeah.
And it's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
And so please keep your head, Americans. We don't.
Because you didn't lance the infection and allow it to come out. It's so that we could heal.
Yeah.
Instead, the infection is festering right now.
Yes, it is.
Right now. And it'll fester for the next 4 years and beyond that if Democrats win again in some sort of shady way like they did this time.
Every major thing that a Biden administration institutes is going to be defied by some major. There's going to be major issues around everything, whether it's a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, it's just going to get worse from here.
Or a new tax, or a climate accord, or whatever.
That's going to be all of the above, because he'll do all of that. He'll do all of that.
Keep your heads, Americans.
Please. Yeah. It's really a shame.
Hey, Happy New Year.
It didn't have to be this way. You know, it didn't have to be this way. 888-900-3393, also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Here's a list of some of the top lies. This was from Town Hall. Some of the top lies of 2020. Number one, these aren't in any actual order of which was the worst lie, but the number one lie of the first lie of 2020, lockdowns are worth it. Please note the care with which I phrase the above. I'm not saying lockdowns don't work, at least temporarily. Theoretically, if every human being on the planet had somehow magically been able to lock themselves away for a month, then maybe the virus could have been smothered before it got a foothold. Sure, millions more would have died from the lockdowns, but we'd have stopped COVID-19. Island nations like New Zealand and even Australia have been able to fight off the virus so far with strict containment measures and border control. For a while, even parts of Europe were able to stave it off. course, we'll all know what eventually happened in Germany, Italy, the UK, Spain, California, and countless other places that used destructive lockdowns to delay the inevitable, which is exactly what happened. Maybe a hard pill to swallow, but lockdowns aren't worth it, not even a little. The second big lie, asymptomatic spread is a major driver of COVID-19 transmission. This is one I love because they told us for how long? You might not even know you're sick and you'll be spreading it to the elderly and killing them dead on the spot. Yeah, then it turned out, especially this latest Chinese survey. Well, the Chinese can't be trusted. Not with this, anyway. They can be trusted completely when they give us the numbers of their COVID infections. Those are completely accurate, and so are their denials that the virus started there. But you can't trust them when it comes to asymptomatic spread. They have just determined, what was it? There was 1,000 people infected in this latest trial by the Chinese. And a certain amount of people transmitted it. Not one of them came from an asymptomatic person. So no persons without symptoms spread it to people who didn't have the disease. And we were told over and over and over in 2020 that you can spread it when you don't even know you're spreading it. Even if you don't have symptoms, you're spreading it. Well, no. Now it turns out that if you don't have symptoms, that probably means your viral load is not high enough to pass it on to anybody else. Amazing. Number 3, health officials should make public policy decisions. If there was ever a time when the saying, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, is completely apropos, it's now. Health officials may not know anything about operating a business, running a school, keeping an economy from collapsing, or preventing deaths from despair. But they sure do know, or think they know, how to stop the spread of COVID-19. Yeah, but we've seen that's just not the case. Line number 4. Systemic or systematic police racism exists. Remember when a drug-addled man died while in police custody from what turned out to be a heart attack? Mm-hmm. Granted, leaning on his neck was still a really bad idea. And Black Lives Matter burned down the cities of America's major cities. Remember when Rayshard Brooks was shot after stealing a taser, running, and then shooting that taser back at police, and the police were charged? Remember when we were told that police were basically racist Bull Connor types, just looking for people of color to take down just for the fun of it? Well, it turns out that none of these things are true. That, as researcher Heather McDonald showed in a column about systemic police racism, it's a total myth and a destructive one at that. We'll give you some of those numbers coming up here in just a little while from the Heather McDonald article. It's pretty amazing, pretty incredible proof that there's no such thing as systemic police racism. Number 5, the presidential election was fair and clean. Sure, not everything alleged by Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell turned out to be provable in court, at least to the satisfaction of a sitting judge. We never saw the Kraken, a baby Kraken, or even a Kraken egg. But does anyone who voted for Trump really think no shenanigans took place whatsoever in this election? No. You may or may not agree, but my theory has always been they got us with death by 1,000 cuts. It was truly the perfect storm, and most of it was done well before the election. Mm-hmm. And they used the coronavirus, too. Oh, yeah. And that's how they pushed the mail-in stuff. The mail-in voting gave them a huge advantage because it's so easy to manipulate and mess with that.
Yeah, they had the Postal Service.
Yeah.
Period. They just did. I mean, to the point where the union came out to support Biden. And, I mean, that's... There's your first clue, and you have the letter carriers that testified, but didn't do anything.
Yeah, and we saw so many anecdotal stories of huge piles of ballots being found in dumpsters or in ditches, and then the stories of ballots being brought in the cover of night, 4 o'clock in the morning, and Republican poll watchers being dismissed. And I mean, there's just so many stories like that that it's just going to be tough for people to get over the fact that there was rampant fraud in this election. 888-900-3393, also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. We also have the myth of the systemic police racism to go through. This great article by Heather McDonald. She talks about the actual facts. Now, these facts aren't racist. They're not racist either. They just are. They're just facts. And if you can't talk about facts, and yet it's, in some cases you can't. For instance, if we posted this on Twitter, it'd probably be removed. I bet it would be. I bet it'd be removed.
We can try.
Maybe we'll do that. But it goes through the numbers, especially from 2019. The numbers for 2020 aren't completely out yet. But we've talked about some of these. But there's more information here than we've had before about police shootings and who's being shot and why. It's pretty astounding. We'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes on Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Great to have you with us. Welcome to January. Isn't it wonderful? January and Monday. So that makes it all the better.
Wow, you're selling me on it.
Yeah. It's even better now, right? With most of the football season behind us, which is also great.
Well, actually, that is good for Falcons fans.
Yeah, depending on what I had, a fantastic football season, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Which ended, of course, with the BYU victory over Central Florida.
Wasn't even close.
Wasn't even close. No, it was not. It was a total blowout, and nobody had done that to Central Florida in 10 years at least. Same thing that happened to Boise State. So it was a good year. And now we're going to lose all those players to the NFL draft, probably. So that's great. Now, the Falcons finished what, 4-12?
They did.
4-12. Wow.
Can I just point out that I know you care, but all of their big blowout losses were to the top. Well, I was going to say top four if you want to take Washington out of that. The top four NFC records, the teams, Tampa Bay, Seattle, New Orleans, and Green Bay, kicked the Falcons' butt multiple times, I'd like to point out. But there was like 9 one-possession games that the Falcons lost.
Was it 9?
Yeah, it was 8 or 9. I have to sit down again.
Jeez.
I know you care. But, I mean, it was such a frustrating year.
Yeah,
but, hey, we get the number 4 pick. Yay.
That's not bad. Somebody projected that it would be BYU quarterback Zach Wilson, right?
They did.
That would surprise me.
Yeah.
They're not going to move off Matt Ryan yet,
no,
right?
The talk is that they don't have the money for Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. You'll find the money even if the other 20 starters are from, an XFL team.
Yes.
Roster.
Yeah. Plus, Zach Wilson from BYU may not be there at the number 4 pick.
Right.
According to the talk, he might go number 2 to the Jets, which is incredible.
I wouldn't wish that.
It's incredible.
On anyone.
Yeah, I know. That's a terrible fit for him. I'd feel real bad if he goes to the Jets because that's not. I don't know how that's a winning situation there. It just they're in a bad way, and they just fired their coach, so they're in complete disarray.
Whoa! Wait, Adam Gase is gone.
Yep.
Officially?
Yep.
It happened?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, party time in New York.
It happened. Yeah.
Oh, he is the worst.
Yeah. He was, what were they, 2-14? Yeah, 2-14 this year. So
in those 2 games,
not a good year.
Didn't want to win.
Also, how about now I'm not going to give away any of the details of what actually happened, but the Mandalorian finale, I got to tell you, that to me, that was awesome. That was the best Star Wars episode since 1983. That was better than every movie after 1983.
You're not kidding. That's
Seriously,
a great way to describe it.
It was fantastic.
We waited 37 years.
Yes, for that payoff.
Yep.
And it was almost worth the wait. It was really, I mean, that was awesome. If you haven't seen it yet and you're watching The Mandalorian, you need to, because we need to talk about what actually happened there. So please watch it.
So how long do you give people?
I don't know. Maybe a week now. Maybe
two
another
and a half
week.
weeks, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a while because it happened before Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was the Friday before
So
Christmas.
we're literally at the end of this week. It'll have been 3 weeks. Got to get on that.
Yeah, you need to get on it because it needs to be discussed.
The child stays with me.
So good.
I sound like the Mandalorian now with this voice.
Yes.
Right? Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It did. It did.
Thank you.
Also, Wonder Woman. Anybody see that? Did you see Wonder Woman 84?
I have not. Is it good?
Oh my gosh. It is one of the worst pieces of garbage I've ever seen in a major motion picture.
I was just told that from Rob at the same time you said that.
It sucked so bad.
Oh no.
That it's embarrassing. How do you go from the first one, which I thought was pretty good, to this mess? I mean, it was an absolute mess.
Was it a PC women's power thing or?
It was just bad. It wasn't even because of that, really. And it wasn't PC because the PC people are all pissed off. I'm going to tell you about one of the things that happened. So here is a little spoiler. If you're all worked up over, not knowing anything about Wonder Woman 84, first of all, don't bother. But secondly, here's your warning. This may contain spoilers for, the thing. Don't say we didn't warn you. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so
Wonder Woman.
Everybody
84.
knows. You know from the previews that Steve, what's his name? Steve Trevor? Is that what? Yeah, Steve Trevor comes back to life somehow, right?
Okay.
So her boyfriend from the 40s comes back to life. He died in the first movie. So he's alive in this movie. But he comes back in the body of somebody else. So, but Diana only sees Chris Pine. The Chris Pine, Steve Trevor.
Oh, really?
Everybody else sees the other guy. She sees him.
Is this explained as to why?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really as to why. I guess it's just because she loves him so much.
Okay.
She could see his true self. So he comes back in somebody else's body. So the PC people are all pissed off about consent. How dare they have him come back in somebody else's body and take over it without that guy's permission? And obviously, Steve and Wonder Woman have a little get together, in bed. So that essentially is rape of the guy whose body is occupied.
They know this is a movie, right?
Yeah, that's what I want to tell them. It's a movie.
Oh no,
it didn't really happen, people. For one thing, but for another thing, come on.
Oh my. Oh, that DC, man.
So ridiculous.
They just strike out.
So ridiculous.
That's all they do. I did watch Soul, right? Is that what it's called? Soul.
Oh, did you like that?
I mean, it was.
Soul is the new Pixar movie.
Yeah, it was close.
It's on Disney Plus.
It was a double. It wasn't a home run.
Really?
Yeah, it was okay.
That's unusual for Pixar.
Yeah, I haven't asked my family what they thought about it though. I'd like to know what their thoughts were.
Were you quarantined when you saw it?
No, I just went to bed. I was like, okay, cool. There's a movie. Good night. So I need to ask them because I'm curious as to their thoughts.
Yeah, you should find out.
It was a cool concept, but you reminded me of it when you talked about ending up in someone else.
So okay, yeah, because that happens in that movie as well, right? Yeah. Oh, another spoiler. Uh-oh. Whoop, whoop,
I would actually spoil it because never mind.
All right, got some tweets here. Chris Henderson tweets, been listening all morning and have yet to hear a station ID from the Big Frog.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's
true.
That's an FCC violation, sir.
I believe it is, yeah.
The only station beyond the bandwidth of your FM radio, 1099.
There you go. Plus, more on trivia. We're going to have a more on trivia vote later on today.
Yes.
At Pat Unleashed on Twitter. We'll let you pick what playoff game we're going to feature this weekend. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tricia Sanders tweets, "Yay, Pat and Keith are back. My life now has purpose again."
Oh,
good. Happy to provide you with that, Tricia.
No.
Patriot Princess of Dr. Stephen Avery. Does the vaccine with lobster come with butter sauce?
Oh, I think that's the follow-up shot. You have to go for 2.
That's the second shot. Yeah, where you get the lobster sauce. The butter sauce for the lobster.
Uh-huh.
From Zippy, when asked why we haven't been vaccinated, should we just reply, because I don't have standing?
Mm-hmm.
Smallmouth Bass. Kurt, facts have no standing, so they don't matter. It does pretty much seem that way now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Also, speaking of the unbelievably bizarre PC crowd, you got to check out this video from Congress the other day. Representative Cleaver opening prayer for the new Congress. And check out how the prayer went and how the prayer ended.
We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths.
We got it.
Okay.
A man and a woman.
What? Oh, my gosh. Amen and a woman.
2021, picking up where 2020 left off.
Reverend Rep, that's a non-gender word. Amen is a non-gendered word.
Yeah, he's an ordained minister.
That's pathetic. Does he not know it's a Latin word for so be it? It doesn't have anything to do with anybody's gender. So ridiculous. Amen and a woman? That guy should be thrown out of Congress for being that butt stupid. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Amen and a woman. That doesn't even make sense. Even if you believe that amen is a gendered word, it still doesn't make sense. These people, they're going to be the death of us if we don't put a stop to it. 888-900-3393. Also, a Boston doctor has had a severe allergic reaction. I think that's the one we talked about, right? With the allergy, with the shellfish allergy.
He didn't know there was lobster in the shot.
Right. That's why, of course, he had the allergic reaction he did. Then there's the nurse that tested positive for COVID despite her recent vaccine, which that can happen. And I think they mentioned that if you get it between the first shot and the second shot, you have to have them both, supposedly, right? So if you get them between the first and second shot,
you're not invincible
suck.
yet.
Right.
Okay, you're just powering up.
Matthew W., a 45-year-old nurse in San Diego, received the Pfizer vaccine December 18th, told ABC News San Diego that the only vaccine side effect he experienced was arm soreness. Okay. Well, 6 days later, after working a shift in the COVID unit, Matthew had chills, muscle pain, and fatigue. A drive-up hospital test confirmed he was positive for COVID-19. But again, that's only 6 days after the shot, so he hadn't had a second one, and you're not fully protected.
Well then,
and a lot of people are going to be surprised by that. Also, in the side effect department,
okay, we got more.
Got another nurse who got Bell's palsy.
Oh.
And they told us this was a possibility before they released it. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It's a sad video.
So after she got the vaccine, I think she posted this.
Hi, I am a registered nurse in Nashville, Tennessee, and my name is Kalila Mitchell. I'm reaching out to everyone about the COVID-19 vaccination.
Pause it for a second. Are we seeing subtitles in Russian? Is this released in Russia? And I wonder if is this a big scary thing in Russia, and that's why this has been translated into Russian?
maybe the last place where they haven't pulled the video.
That might be exactly it, because they pulled the video on Twitter. They don't want people to know that a nurse got Bell's palsy after getting the vaccine. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means they don't want you to know about it. Okay, Twitter is just unbelievable. All right, let's see the rest of this.
Yeah. I recently took the COVID-19 vaccination. After the shot, I felt fine. But within 3 days, I went to the doctor because I had problems with my face. The whole left side of my face, actually.
Oh, jeez.
I have Bell palsy now. And as you can see, I can't smile. I'm trying to smile. I'm just getting embarrassed for it. But I just want everyone to know that I think this vaccination is the worst thing ever. And I would not give this to anybody, even my worst enemy. Please, America, they do not care about us. Do not take this vaccination.
That's heartbreaking.
It sure is.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Jeez. Even though they did say this is a possibility, some people had developed Bell's palsy from it. It doesn't make it any easier when somebody actually contracts it from the vaccine. Jeez.
Gonna power through, because remember, Bill Gates says it's fine. It's totally fine.
Well, Bill Gates, I mean, you can trust Bill Gates, right? He was asked by Nora O'Donnell if it's safe. Here's what he said.
The side effects for the Moderna vaccine sound concerning. We looked. After the second dose, at least 80% of participants experienced a systemic side effect,
80%.
ranging from severe chills to fevers. So, are these vaccines safe?
Well, the FDA, not being pressured, will look hard at that. The FDA is the gold standard of regulators, and their current guidance on this, if they stick with that, is very, very appropriate. You know, the side effects were not super severe. That is, it didn't cause permanent health problems for the things there. Moderna did have to go with a fairly high dose, and so to get the antibodies. Some of the other vaccines are able to go with lower doses to get responses that are pretty high, including the J&J and the Pfizer. And so there's a lot of characteristics of these vaccines. It's great that we have multiple of them that are
Bill,
going out there. And yes, I think
you know the data
US
better than I do. But the data showed that everybody with a high dose had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not dramatic, where it's just super painful. But yes, we need to make sure there's not severe side effects.
Okay, yeah, some of that is okay. You might have your face paralyzed for 3, 4, or 5 months. Don't worry about that. Bell's palsy is probably not permanent. It'll probably only last 5, 6 months.
I'm convinced.
Tops.
Bill just convinced me. I'm ready for it. I'm going to roll up my sleeve now and
maybe a nurse can come in here right now.
Let's do it.
And jab Keith.
So what? I mean, you're the salesman for this?
Yeah, he was having a tough time.
Oh my goodness.
He had a tough time explaining that away. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, but the vomiting and the severe chills and the Bell's palsy, facial paralysis, it's not permanent. Nobody wants it for a day or an hour or a minute.
Okay, so you asked me, which was fair, if after having COVID kick my butt up and down the street and back, if I changed my stance on masks or vaccines. And I said, emphatically, not a chance.
Yeah.
So after seeing some of these horror stories and reading about them, how are you on the vaccine now? Is there a temperature check on that?
Yeah, probably less likely. I'd still consider it, though. I obviously have some health issues that are underlying. And so I don't know how it's going to affect me.
Yeah.
But nobody does.
Sure.
You didn't know it would kick your butt the way it did.
No.
And so.
But that's just it. I mean, you're allowed to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah. And as long as I'm allowed, I'm okay with it.
And that's what we've said about masks and vaccines. Give us the personal choice.
Yes.
And then we will make it for ourselves.
And most Americans will do it just because they want to protect themselves and others. I
don't care about anybody else, dude. So,
some.
No,
Okay, some.
Rework the math on that calculus. Sorry.
All right, 888-900-3393. Let me tell you about Keeps. If you noticed your hair is not looking so full and luxurious as it once was, losing your hair is no fun. Seeing it go down the drain every day is a nightmare. That's why you should try Keeps. And you can check this out from the comfort of your lazy boy. You get the same doctor-recommended, FDA-approved hair loss treatment, but Keeps offers the generic versions, so it's going to cost you about half of what the brand names would do. And one more thing, it's all online. So all you have to do is go online, answer a few questions, snap a few pictures, and post them. And then a licensed doctor reviews your information and recommends the right hair loss treatment for you. And then they'll ship it directly to your door. So easy, so convenient. To get you started, we got a special deal. Go to Keeps, KEEPS.com/Pat for 50% off your first order. Keeps hair loss treatment. That's KEEPS. Keeps.com/Pat. Keeps.com/Pat. And welcome. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Colin Schnorr tweets, "I've missed you guys." And right back at you.
Oh, look
right
at that.
back at you.
To the point.
Yeah. Shall not be infringed. Tweets, "Why would Stacey Abrams' sister recuse herself? It's not like the left has to worry about being caught cheating. That's for sure."
Yeah.
Tip over and capsize. Wait, so now we're gendering non-gendered words? We really are turning over a new leaf in 2021. From Duct Tape Freak, a man and a woman. Why not AMXN? Right.
Oh.
What a bigot.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah.
Also, is amen, I read it was Latin. Keith just read it's Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Then I looked it up. It's also Greek.
Wait.
And I think it also came from Idaho. Yeah, I think it's mostly Idahoan. It went from Idahoan to Greek.
Like that
to Hebrew.
That could be where it started,
to
Idaho?
Latin to English. Yeah, it started in Idaho.
I would not have seen that coming.
I know, right? But either way, it's a non-gendered word.
Right. That means what?
It means so be it.
So be it. Or like...
Or to be sure. Something like that.
Or maybe a modern version would be like true dat. Right?
True dat, yes, is a good way to put it as well.
Amen.
Yeah.
Not a woman.
No, not a woman. Because it has nothing to do, again, with gender.
What a world, man.
It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Doesn't make any sense, the world we live in right now. It doesn't make any sense. So Cheryl Atkinson reported on December 24th that the CDC said more than 5,000 COVID-19 vaccine recipients have reportedly suffered health impact events.
So that was a week and a half ago, those numbers.
5,000 a week and a half ago. So what's the number up to now? Do we have any idea?
I don't know.
More than 5,000 probably.
Yeah. But it's not a big deal, according to Bill Gates.
No, because it doesn't last forever. And it didn't kill you. So that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So all of these chills and vomiting and brain tumors or whatever else it's given you, your severe allergic reaction, paralyzing your face.
But you could go to the injury compensation
Don't worry about it.
Program
Yeah.
with the government.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an issue, you could just file the complaint with them.
Oh, and they'll take that right up and get
totally
you.
Fix it.
What are they going to do for you?
They're going to make you whole.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because the government always does that, right? They always make you whole. Look what they've done during the shutdowns. Haven't they made all the businesses whole? You got $600. What do you want? You whiny bastard?
I know.
What do you want?
No, there's just a story about it's basically a dead letter office in the federal government. If
Really?
you do file a complaint about vaccination.
It's a dead letter office?
Effectively.
Okay.
I mean, you might get.
Sorry.
1 out of 100 cases get about 10% of the claim or something.
Jeez.
That's not the exact number, but it's just.
Ay, ay, ay.
Anyway, so good luck with the vaccine, everybody. It's going to fix us, going to get society going again. It's going to be back to normal in 20 minutes. 20 minutes, we're going to be back to normal.
Good. We still got to get to this story of the myth of the systemic police racism. Tell you about that in just a minute. Few tweets here. Richard Gooley tweets, Pat, you think you have underlying health issues now? Wait till you get the toxic cocktail of chems from the vaccine. Enjoy your lobster. It's interesting to me that so many people who love Donald Trump are so concerned about the vaccine. It was his effort here that got this thing rolling, that sparked the American corporations, one of them in league with the German lab, to get these vaccines created. It was the money poured in by the U.S. government that got this thing rolling. So why are you so suspicious of it?
I mean...
Why? This is a Donald Trump adventure.
Yeah.
Is it not? This is what he promised, and he delivered.
Okay, well, the Republicans gave us the EPA, too, right? So, I mean, it's just like...
Yeah, but that wasn't Donald Trump.
No, but I'm saying we opened the door to madness.
Yeah, but people who, Donald Trump supporters
I understand
pretty much buy into everything Donald Trump does.
That's fair.
Except this? Why? All right. Carl Smith tweets, listening to Bill Gates talk about vaccine side effects, I was expecting to hear him say, come on, man.
Yeah, I know. That's all he had left.
Yeah, I know.
That's all he had left.
From the Steve 42, Bill Gates got all his virus experience from his really crappy Windows security. From Rowdy Introvert, Idaho. Home of the potato and the word amen. Amen to that. Racco tweets, so is the origin of amen and a woman going to be a new moron trivia question? Answer, Pocatello, Idaho.
I like it.
Yes. As a matter of fact, yes. All right. Got this, the myth of the systemic police racism from Heather McDonald, who wrote this article a few weeks ago. She writes, George Floyd's death in Minneapolis has revived the Obama-era narrative that law enforcement is endemically racist. On Friday, Barack Obama tweeted that for millions of black Americans, being treated differently by the criminal justice system on account of race is tragically, painfully, maddeningly normal. Mr. Obama called on the police and the public to create a new normal in which bigotry no longer infects our institutions and our hearts. Not beautiful. Joe Biden released a video the same day in which he asserted that all African Americans fear for their safety from bad police and black children must be instructed to tolerate police abuse just so they can make it home. So all of that goes on and on and on. But here are the facts. In 2019, police officers fatally shot 1,004 people, the last year for which these statistics are available. 2019, they'll be coming out for 2020 shortly. But 1,004 people were shot dead by police in 2019, most of whom were armed or otherwise dangerous. African Americans were about a quarter of those killed by cops. 235, a ratio that's remained pretty stable since 2015. That share of black victims is less than what the black crime rate would predict, since police shootings are a function of how often police officers encounter armed and violent suspects. Okay, so you don't just say, well, the percentage of population of black people is only 13%, so they shouldn't be 25% of those shot. Well, if they're committing more crimes, then that raises the chance that they're going to be shot. In 2018, the last year for which such data has been published, African Americans made up 53% of known homicide offenders in the U.S. Okay? That's just a statistic. It's just a fact. It's not racist. It's not unracist. It just is. It's just fact. And they commit about 60% of robberies, though they are 13% of the population. The police fatally shot 9, we've had these statistics before, 9 unarmed blacks and 19 unarmed whites in 2019, according to the Washington Post. That's down from 38 and 32, respectively, in 2015. The Post defines unarmed pretty broadly, but that also includes cases such as a suspect in Newark, New Jersey, who had a loaded handgun in his car during a police chase. In 2018, there were 7,407 black homicide victims. 7,407. Assuming a comparable number of victims last year, those 9 unarmed black victims of police shootings represent 0.1%, so 0.1% of all African Americans killed in 2019. That's amazing. By contrast, a police officer is 18.5 times more likely to be killed by a black male than an unarmed black male is to be killed by a police officer. That's pretty staggering. 18.5 times more likely. On Memorial Day weekend in Chicago alone last year, 10 black Americans were killed in drive-by shootings. More than the 9 unarmed blacks shot by police officers in an entire year over one 3-day weekend. Such routine violence has continued, and then they go through some of the specifics. This last year in Chicago, for the entire year, it was over 700 homicides in Chicago alone. Over 700. I think it was like 769. I mean, those are statistics from the old days, like the 80s and 90s, when violent crime was just completely out of control in our major cities, in New York, in Washington, D.C., in Chicago. And then we got a handle on it, and now all of a sudden, they've blown the lid off of that again. So you might think that the Black Lives Matter movement might want to look into, I don't know, some of those areas, like violence, black-on-black violence in Chicago, for instance. You might want to take a look at that and protest that and see if you can do something about that as well. When you've got a total of 9 unarmed blacks being shot in a year, as opposed to 769, many of which are from drive-by shootings. There's a problem with your focus, I think, just a little bit. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. By the way, we were talking about vaccines a few minutes ago. Fewer Americans want vaccines than they did before. I mentioned that earlier today. Overall, 71.4% of U.S. adults surveyed between April 1st and April 14th said they were either somewhat or very likely to get a COVID-19 vaccine when it became available.
Okay, what was that number again?
74.1%.
Okay.
Now you fast forward to the end of the year, when obviously it was a lot worse than we thought it was going to be.
Now it's
right?
Yeah, and now it's time to roll up your sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Time to roll up, and we actually have the vaccine. Now, do you want it? 56.2%. That's almost 20% less. Almost 20% fewer Americans want it now than they did back in April. Isn't that amazing? There's only 56.2% are still planning to get vaccinated when their turn comes. Wow.
Yeah, but when's their turn going to come? You know, like
yeah.
You got one professor saying that if you're old and white, you need to be pushed down the
you need
the
to be
list.
at the end of the line,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, whiteys have always had first dibs on everything. And of course, it's a white guy saying this.
Yeah, he's good. He's a fun one.
How tired are you of self-loathing white people? I'm so sick of them.
It's an epidemic
It is.
of its own.
It's an absolute epidemic, yes. It's a bigger pandemic, I think, than COVID-19. And he's an ethics professor, so you know.
Oh, well, then we need to pay. Then this means something.
Not only is he an ethics professor, but he's an ethics professor in the Ivy League.
Oh, well, now we gotta take what he says.
At Penn. Yeah, so he's at the University of Pennsylvania.
Ethics professor. Okay, what's he say?
He suggests essential workers get priority over the coronavirus vaccine, over vulnerable senior citizens, because workers are more likely to be minorities.
Okay.
All right, for one thing.
Okay, well, all right.
The CDC should use its own social vulnerability index, he said, to decide how to protect older people who are more at risk. The social vulnerability index.
Oh, no. This is already off to a bad start.
The index uses measures from the census like poverty, unemployment, disability, housing status, and education to determine which communities are most likely to feel the impact of a public health emergency.
Okay.
At least 18 states, 18, plan to use the index.
Oh, wow.
Oh, good.
Okay, then.
At least 221,000 of those who died from COVID-19 were over 65, or about 80% of the total deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Those over the age of 85 are 630 times more likely to die from the virus than those aged 18 to 29.
So it definitely sounds like the elderly among us need the vaccine.
Yes, except and not elderly white people.
Why did you do that? Why did you throw that in there?
Because the professor,
the ethics professor
from Penn, reminds us that Whitey has gotten privileges their whole lives, and he's tired of it, and they shouldn't get privileges here. So that's good. That's great. This
guy's a winner.
He is. I mean, there's so many of these winners too whiter elderly should wait for the vaccine and get in the back of the line
because they've
already gotten privileges,
had advantages,
their whole lives. I'm tired of it.
What's this clown's name? I gotta.
You do?
I gotta find this guy.
His name is
Professor.
It's a good question. Schmidt.
Harold Schmidt.
Schmidt.
Found him. That's the
Professor Schmidt.
Professor Schmidt
from the University of Pennsylvania.
Medical Ethics and Health Policy. Oh my!
If you'd like to tweet him a hello.
Yeah, he's actually on Twitter.
I'm sure he is.
So.
I'm sure he is. Also, Dr. Fauci was on CNN last week, and he had something to say about the COVID vaccines and herd immunity. Here's what he said.
You acknowledged to the New York Times that you've moved the goalposts in terms of what it would take to reach so-called herd immunity in the United States. Here's what you said. You said when polls said only about half of all Americans would take a vaccine, I was saying herd immunity would take 70 to 75%. Then when newer surveys said 60% or more would take it, I thought I can nudge this up a bit. So I went to 80, 85. And then you go on to say that it may be as high as 90%. So my question is, why weren't you straight with the American people about this to begin with?
Wait, what? Stop hang on for a sec. Is that Dana Bash from CNN? Holy cow. She actually asked Dr. Saint Fauci of Assisi.
Get it right, Pat.
A tough question? Wow. Why weren't you straight with the American people? No, you're talking to a saint here, Dana.
Right. Know your place.
Wow. How dare you? How dare you ask that question? Let's see how he answers it.
No, actually, Dana, I don't think it can be interpreted as being straight or not. We have to realize that we have to be humble and realize what we don't know. These are pure estimates. And the calculations that I made, 70, 75%, it's a range. The range is going to be somewhere between 70 and 85%. The reason I first started saying 70, 75, I brought it up to 85. That's not a big leap to go from 75 to 85. It was really based on calculations and pure extrapolations from measles. Measles is about 98% effective vaccine.
What a weasel to fall back on measles.
The COVID-19 vaccine is about 94, 95%.
94,
when you
95%.
Get below 90% of the population vaccinated with measles, you start seeing a breakthrough against the herd immunity. People starting to get infected like we saw in the upper New York State and in New York City with the Orthodox Jewish group when we had measles outbreak. So I made a calculation that COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, is not as nearly as transmissible as measles. Measles is the most transmissible infection you can imagine. So I would imagine that you would need something a little bit less than the 90%. That's where I got to the 85. But I think we all have to be honest and humble. Nobody really knows for sure. But I think 70 to 85% for herd immunity for COVID-19 is a reasonable estimate.
I thought you were
and
the
in fact,
scientist.
Most of my epidemiology colleagues agree with me.
Yeah, of course. Nothing is exact. I guess my question was about polling. It seemed in that quote to suggest that you were basing your recommendation on polling and what people could accept. Is that not what you meant?
No, I mean, it's a bit of that. I want to encourage the people of the United States and globally to get vaccinated because as many as we possibly get vaccinated will get closer to herd immunity. So the bottom line is it's a guesstimate. I gave a range.
It's a guesstimate. I gave a range. And I'm also trying to manipulate the American people, okay, over there? I'm trying to manipulate the people to get the vaccine. So that's why I use the 85 to 90%, whatever.
That's amazing.
In other words, I've been lying to you this entire time.
Yeah. I'm just trying to...
Don't call me out on it, especially I thought I was in CNN. I thought I was in a safe room here.
Right. What happened to my little safe zone here? I thought I was in the safety tree, Dana.
Yeah.
Where's the safety tree? That's great.
So, whereas Fauci is
crazy,
just playing with numbers for policy's sake, you've got Bill Gates playing with your body effectively. That sentence could have been formed differently. With the vaccine, just spitballing. It's fine. I mean, look, it's good.
I mean, look, it doesn't last forever. Oh, okay. Well, then that's fine.
Sign
that's
me
fine.
up.
So my face might be paralyzed, but I only have to worry about it for a few months, right?
It's a face. How important is that to you?
Come on. Nobody sees your face. Actually, right now they don't with all the masking going on, but that's unbelievable. He just essentially admitted to lying to manipulate us.
But
that's okay.
It hasn't registered a bit.
Not at all. Not at all. And the guy will still be revered and admired. I'm really surprised Dana Bash actually took him to task on something. I mean, that was...
Yeah.
Nobody does that at CNN.
Oh, that was pretty awesome over Christmas break, how he had a birthday. And when he left work, Dr. Fauci, he got serenaded by healthcare workers. No, we don't have the video for that. I'm not leading into that. But they all gathered around and sang happy birthday to him. Then they kind of got together for a photo. Hell, where's the social distancing, man? The hypocrisy is
amazing,
and it's everywhere. It's with you got Canada, you got 7 government officials who are traveling internationally while telling everybody else to stay at home. We've seen it with Dr. Birx. You get de Blasio gets to dance on New Year's Eve in Times Square.
Gavin Newsom gets to go to restaurants.
At
the French Laundry. While everybody else needs to stay home, and restaurants need to remain closed.
Oh, we've got the teachers union lady from Chicago who tweets out, "We shouldn't go back until it's safe." On the same day that she's posting a selfie of herself sunbathing in Puerto Rico. Do we have that image? Look at that.
Yep, there she is.
So she posts that while saying, "Well, we shouldn't go back until it's safe."
Yeah,
well, I wonder
she's in Puerto Rico in a bikini. Unbelievable.
I can't, man.
The hypocrisy.
But yet, these are the people that you're listening to for direction on how to live and when to wear masks and when to see grandma and when to stay 6 feet apart and when to get a vaccine and check that into your body. These are the people that you're listening to. Got it.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And then when you compare what's happening in the lockdown states like New York and California, and you compare that to the freer states like Florida and Texas, the results are unbelievable. The hospitalizations in California compared to New York or California compared to Florida are unbelievable. I wish I would have sent this graph in because
I saw this.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
the difference between California and Florida, and then you compare California to Florida and Texas, and the rate is still below California's by a lot. I mean, it's just a fact that the lockdowns don't work. The lockdown doesn't do anything except harm to the people who are locked down. Harm in lost income, harm in lost businesses, harm in mental health. I mean, it's really tragic what's going on.
Our kids are
really
having
tragic.
their childhoods robbed from them, by the way.
They are.
Don't sit on that fact. Whether it's school and interacting with their friends, whether it's church, whether it's sport activities, it's just general socialization.
Yep.
Our children are being robbed.
Well, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And it's dangerous in some cases, in many cases, because their mental health is declining over this. When they can't be with their friends, kids don't have the understanding and the experience to know that this is going to be okay eventually. Okay, we're going to get out of this eventually. They don't think that way. They think that life is going to be like this now. They don't have the experience to realize that, there's twists and turns and ups and downs in life. And if you just wait it out, you endure it for a while, it will get better.
And people are losing their livelihoods over all of these horrible measures.
So many businesses.
So I mean, we're talking about the mental and the economic impacts to individuals. I mean, it's also a health impact. And by that, I mean, because I remember us saying when they started putting these mask things, they're like, okay, you're going to breathe that back in. Okay, good luck with your lung infections, years from now by breathing in your own soot effectively. I saw a guy on Twitter who says he's been an asthmatic for 20 years, who's been wearing a mask everywhere, been doing everything they've been saying for the last 8 months. And this is the first, he's been an asthmatic his entire life, but this is the first time in 20 years that he's had an attack.
Oh.
And it's because of this mask and the quality of it. And by the way, you have a get out of jail free card if you're an asthmatic. Remember, you just say, I'm asthmatic, I don't have to wear a mask.
Although they don't even ask,
right?
Do they in the
they don't
stores and the
People
restaurants?
do this passive aggressive under their breath crap when they walk by you and they see you're not wearing a mask.
Yep.
Oh no, that ruined my day. The guy just mumbled something about how I want to kill people. Okay, don't even turn around for that crap. But if you're ever called out, you're an asthmatic. Okay, look at me, I'm an asthmatic, all right? Or I'm identifying as a 2-year-old. I don't have to wear a mask. Whatever it takes, man. Just be prepared to answer if you have to. But you're not going to be asked to begin with.
That's the problem. That's the problem. All right, 888-900-3393. Also, tomorrow we got to get into the fact that non-COVID deaths, how many of those are being attributed to COVID? Like, if you die of anything after a positive test, you died from COVID. I mean, even if you've been thrown from a speeding car, as in this case by this Minnesota man, thrown out of a speeding car and died. Yeah, but he was COVID positive, so he died of COVID. We'll get into that coming up tomorrow on Pat Gray Unleashed.